everybody, and welcome back to Heidi's house. This is your host, Queen Bee Heidi B. And today's featured guest is Franke Estevez Fuzion. I am so excited to hear more about his house music journey. So, are you ready? Then let's go. So, here he is. Franke Estevez Fuzion is in the
Hello,
house.
hello.
Welcome,
Thank you.
welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so happy for having you joining into our little humble podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
How's New York?
Hot.
I can imagine.
Mhm.
And Franke, as I was saying just before we started this interview, that I'm very lucky lady because we happen to have the timing very, very nicely timing for this interview to happen. I want to congratulate you and Merlin Bob for receiving Traxos #1. So
Thank
huge
you. Thank
congratulations.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have to also say I love the Terracotta Walls track, and it was just in my latest mix show as a starter track. Very beautiful, beautiful track,
Mhm.
and I understand why people vibe to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Most welcome and very well deserved.
Mhm.
Um, Now, you know that this podcast is all about house music and global house music culture, and each featured guest gets to share a little bit about their house music journey. And I always start with all of our guests with the same question because I'm really interested to know how they define themselves. So, without further ado, could you tell us, in your own words, who is Franke Estevez Fuzion?
I am a music producer. I'm a remixer. I'm a DJ. I run a record label, Fusion Recordings. I have a commercial recording studio in New Jersey. Been doing it for over 27, 28 years now. Um, Simple person, family man, goes out to the clubs, enjoys the nightlife, and collaborates with a lot of different people out there.
Yes. Very short and sweet and clear synopsis of a huge
Mhm.
career that you have actually done, and you have that kind of different hats, just like you described, that you have the perspective from the DJing, as a music producer, also as a label owner. And we are going to try to have a little peek into each of those areas within this interview. But first, let's go back, really way back into those times that you got started with house music. So what got you into house music in first place?
Um, well, we're talking about late 80s, early 90s. I've been, going to the club scene and watching the whole experience from watching it from the dance floor, watching it from the DJ perspective. I was very motivated and I just love music. It's been in my DNA for a very long time. And just watching the whole experience motivated me more and more. DJs that became producers in the early 90s motivated me more to now be a part of it. So it was just it was just a watching and observing and enjoying at the same time. And it was a big motivation.
Yes. And I have to say that you are really blessed to be having born in a place called New York, one of the house music global hubs and one of the cradles of house music, should I say. What were the earliest experiences in DJing for you? Where did that all start?
It started, I guess, from high school. I was more like doing, uh, you know, venues like high school parties, house parties, uh, outdoor park parties. It started more with me and that motivation. It felt like as I grew more and more into the craft to learn how to do it, I noticed that there was more reaction to the crowd. So it kind of gave me the push. It kind of motivated me more to learn more about the craft and, continue to do what I was always doing. Played for the peak for the crowd, played for the good music, because that's also a big part of it, the selection of music, the timing, you know, the equipment was very limited back then versus today. So I was like with turntables and carrying speakers, and it was all vinyl, the whole yada yada.
All whole cases of things for
Mm,
sure.
yeah,
But I can imagine that that honed your skills. Then I've always said that, always when I talk with the people who were DJing in that era when there were not all those technical gizmos available, it truly, yes, honed or forced you guys to hone the skills there in the art of DJing and really,
mm,
like you said, the importance of building a beautiful set that works.
yeah.
So
It takes time to do it. Back then, it was more competitive to learn how to do it than what it is today. Today's technology allows almost anyone to be a DJ if they wanted to, and real fast. So back then, you really have to understand the art of doing it, listening, beat matching, the right music, knowing when to cue it up, what kind of equipment were you using? Because there was really nothing that was being advertised that was the best of anything. You basically came from whatever was available.
yeah, and I was about to ask during this interview what kind of things and elements you think are important for DJing and the learning, but I think you summarized those elements
Yeah,
just right
yeah.
now there. Is there anything you want to add, if you would advise
I
for
mean, there was that recording. There was cassettes that had pitch control to it. So when you weren't getting the songs that were released yet on vinyl or the acetate, you were pretty much playing from a cassette recording or a reel to reel. So those things were. I learned how to use all those things over time, and then as the technology progressed, I pretty much got caught up with technology, but it was interesting because when you come from that ideology, that era, it kind of makes it a little easier because you understanding the concept.
yeah,
Mhm.
I actually truly believe that it does because it's a little bit similar. I could use the example of, like website programming. If you understand the
Mm,
HTML language, even the latest things and programs, it's way more easier because you have a very solid understanding and basis. So
mm,
I think that
mm,
it's very similar to that
mm.
technical skill and understanding as well. Well, when you started DJing, were there some kind of influences, some DJs that you looked up to or that you took influences from?
Yeah, of course. So back then, we're talking about DJs that played on the radio. Because of my age bracket, I was a little younger to go to the club. So prior to the clubs, DJing was already in my mind at the age of 15, 16. And I was listening to a lot of radio DJs play, and it was very intriguing. You heard guys like Chet Pettibone. I go back to the Latin Rascals. I go back to even in hip hop, I go back to Chuck Chillout, Marley Marl. These guys were big influential times that you didn't visually see, but you heard over the radio.
Yes.
And then later on, as I grew, I started going more and more into the club scene. Then I started seeing more DJs. You know, there was Louis Vega, there was Timmy Regisford, there was Roman Ricardo. I mean, those are the guys that I kind of like grew in my environment listening to.
Yes, very influential
Hmm.
people in this field you mentioned. Now, if I think about the music, then we take a little bit the other side of the DJing. When you select or create your sets, are there some particular elements that you always want to include into your sets when you build them?
Well, because I'm a producer and I create music, I kind of look for certain elements in a song that kind of know what I think works on the dance floor. Now, mind you, there was a time where I was just going to the clubs and you were dancing. I was kind of consistently dancing in the clubs. So I was motivated by listening to music that was played by other DJ selectors that were playing stuff that I knew would work in the dance floor. So I was looking for certain elements, the drum patterns, the chords, sometimes the bass line, or even the way the song is arranged. It's very important to try to find those elements because some guys, I'm not going to say they don't have it, but I will say that sometimes when you're not in that club scene and you're making records, you quite don't understand what the dancers are looking for in those elements that make it work. So you have to kind of have to be there, and then you have to go through the experience and understand what elements you have to add to make it work. And then usually when I find my selection of music, I try to find those elements. Like I can spot a peak record, I can spot a filler. It's sometimes you have to know the surrounding that you're in, and you have to know when and how to play the records.
Yes, very, very important points. And I think
Hmm.
those were just kind of gems for any kind of DJing, especially the aspiring ones, to consider. Very well put. Now, if we think about influences of music that affect to you and into your own music production, who would be your influences, musical influences?
I was a big Earth, Wind and Fire fan. I was a big Marvin Gaye fan. There was somebody else that I'm trying to remember that I also grew up to. You know, but to make a long story short, it's the musical instruments that when you have the gathering of the group that make the element substantial. So to me, it's like I enjoy full orchestrated songs. I like the horn sections. I like the bass sections, the percussions. It always brings it together. And then as you understand, you kind of listen to what is practical that starts to make the song because it's got to make sense. You're building something. So when you're building these songs, it's like I enjoy groups that like to show you how it starts, where it's going, and how it finishes. It's like art. You have to understand a beginning, a middle, and the end.
Yeah, the structure. And just
Hmm.
like you mentioned, a great influence, Earth, Wind and Fire. They really
Hmm.
were um, very influential, and the music was real musicianship and
Yeah.
everything. You know, the horn sections there, vocals, layers, everything, and
Mm.
really song making in its is in one of the best forms actually.
Mm.
So very well put. So I think that is very evident in your music productions as well. I was about
Mm.
to ask, you know, what kind of things you like to consider there when you build your works. It came quite clearly from there. Um, Now, I would like to go a little bit further into the music production uh, and the background. So, what got you into music production then from the DJing? When did that start, that journey?
That started back in early 2000. I felt that I had a lot of ideas, sometimes when you walk out of the club and you leave that night, you walk out impressionably with some songs that stick to your head that you're like, man, there's some songs that this guy played. Now, mind you, I come from an era where DJs were breaking the records. So they were putting out records that you were listening to. Oh, this is the song of the night. Oh, this is the song I gotta listen to again. And also, if you come from an era where you were listening to the radio, songs were being played all day long. The lyrics kind of stick to your head. You go to the club, you start to listen, you sing along, and you learn the lyrics. So it's like it always left you an impression after you left the club and you felt that, man, I wish I could do that. I wish there was something that I can do to put my take on it. I kind of feel like I can do something to it. So it started becoming more relevant that I was going to get into production at one point because I felt that sometimes listening to music, I felt that I had a take that I wanted to put in or an element of a instrument that I wanted to add that kind of made it that would have made it more satisfying to me or to the listeners. But, it was limited for me. I wasn't really fully there yet. And I had to figure out how to put the equipment together and what I needed, what elements were going to work to make it what I needed to have in order to work.
Can you share us with what was the first production that you ever did? The first ever Franke Estevez
The
Fuzion.
first one was, you ready? So I had a friend of mine, he passed away, but I had a friend of mine, his name was George Mena. And he was already doing recording. He had a recording studio. I kind of was more influenced to looking at what he had because I was going to his studio as a patron. I was more like, coming in and renting out a studio to create music. And he kind of gave me some guidance towards the situation. And he was very musically inclined, so I felt that I was more like gonna try to either be like him or understand more of the concept. So we kind of decided over time to work together. So in 2002, we did a song called "The Journey" on West End Records. That was my first one that was actually out there. I had tried other songs before, but they weren't successful. I tried going around with some labels to shop it around, but they felt that I needed a little bit more to it. And it was understandably so because I was still trying to learn the concept of production. So when I finally figured it out, we did a song in 2002 called "The Journey on West End." That was the first one.
Yeah, and the rest is history. And as mentioned
Mhm,
in the beginning today, we are, for instance, celebrating
mhm.
great success of your latest release. Now, is there any advice that you would want to share to an aspiring music producer based on your experience?
Based on my experience, the advice that I would give other producers is learn, ask questions, and try to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Expect constructive criticism, because constructive criticism usually is a big influence. Some people get turned off by somebody else's opinion, whether it might sound a little harsh. Sometimes it's good to learn to make you either a better you. And, I always feel that constructive criticism sometimes gets in the way of a lot of people today because they feel that they come into, well, I got it. I know what I need to do. And when you talk to an experienced person, sometimes it's good to listen to what an experienced person has done because they wouldn't stir you any other different or any other way unless you felt that it was offensive. But to me, I feel that when you talk to these young guys, you try to give them information on instruments, structure, song selection. Everybody has a different take to it, and sometimes their music might go in different directions. You know that today's music, we have so many different outlets. So when you talk to young kids about the fundamentals of production, you don't know which direction they're going to go with it. I'm sorry. You don't know which direction they're going to go with it because sometimes the direction could be more either they want to do deep house, they want to do techno, they want to do R&B. So sometimes you want to try to direct that situation more and more of giving them the fundamentals of pretty much learning the production and if they're open to it.
Yes, I think you said something very important. The openness for criticism
Hmm.
is a huge thing for in order to allow the development and growth to happen.
Hmm.
And then of course at the same time understand that this what I'm hearing there is really to understand that you can't please everybody. You have to grow your own style and build that and trust that it carries and be able to then take the feedback.
Hmm.
So sometimes you might say or get yes, and sometimes you might get no. So very important
Hmm.
point. And may I say something? When I was listening that music production thing, I firmly believe that many DJs also like when they start as a DJ and then they proceed to producing, it is somehow quite often a very natural progression if they have done it for a long time and they have invested in their DJing skills. You kind of beautifully describe that thing that happens that you start to hear some things like, oh,
Hmm.
I would love to make like a remix out of this and
Hmm.
add this would work there,
Yeah.
so it is truly like something that builds up when you invest on it and spend hours and hours developing your ear and developing the ideas
Hmm.
and the select being a selector, so to say. So it was
Hmm.
very nicely somehow expressed in
Hmm.
your talk. Now, as you know, Frankie, this is very very short podcast and
Hmm.
short introduction, but we must not forget now the story about how your label got started. So, what got you eventually to the forming a label? Could you share us a little
Yeah.
bit about?
So I established the label in 2005 with my friend that I discussed, George Mena. We were already after the journey in 2002. We started making more and more productions, and it became more relevant that we had to do our own thing so we could do our own creativity. Sometimes when you shop songs to label, they kind of want to direct you in their own little path of what they feel works for their label. So I just felt that, you know, I don't want to be in that direction of following something that is somebody else's idea. I kind of want to do my own idea or my own creativity. So I started the label just so I could put that creativity in works. So I felt that if the songs were going to be adjusted to different labels, it kind of doesn't create my profile. It doesn't make me who I am. So, I was shopping to King Street at the time. I was shopping to Spence Label and different people. And I was like, can you add, can you change, can you put, I'm like, I'm not feeling their idea of what they're doing. So I kind of wanted to create my own. I said to George, why don't we just start a label and just put out records and let's just do what we do and create our own idea and see where it goes. Either we're right or we're wrong. If we feel that the songs are going to be successfully out there and we can get criticism or great feedback from it, we're going to run with that. But every record wasn't the best record, but it was a good record that people were supporting it. So we kept going and going. And it's been like that since today.
Yeah, very very interesting point there as well. Sometimes when I talk with my guests and I can kind of find a little bit like where they fall in their approach, and I have noticed that people who really start their own labels, they seem to have something common there, that their vision is strong and they have the background where they already have experience working with other labels
Mm.
and in music production and DJing, and somehow at some point it is almost like an organic development that it just leads you to that because you have that strong vision, and just like you said, that then you don't want to hinder it by certain for instance commercial or
Mm.
stylistic or business approaches, but you really kind of want to foster the artistry. I think that
Mm.
artistry element there, which is so important, I believe, for the for
Yeah, I
the
feel I feel that sometimes even as a DJ, sometimes a venue will book you to play,
Mhm.
and if the venue is trying to tell you how to play
Yeah,
and you don't know how the guy plays, then why are you booking me? If I
exactly.
have to change my style and you want me to be there and play different because your venue is different, I'm not your guy. So it kind of does the same thing with production. When you're doing your own label, why am I going to change my art form because you want it a certain way? Your vision is your vision. My vision is my own.
Exactly. So there needs to be some kind of fit and understanding
Yeah.
between the
Of
both
course.
parties. That was really well said because I've also experienced, and I know that many of my fellow artists have experienced that they when for instance the interest is somehow limiting their creativity and maybe a bit too calculated and so on, they might
Mm,
not feel home in that particular label. Some of them yes, but some of them not, and you have to truly follow that what is right fit for you. If
correct.
it works for you, fine, but if you have maybe something different in your mind,
Mm,
why not then follow that
mm.
calling and be true to yourself?
Yeah, I think successful producers are the ones that pretty much control their creativity. When you control your creativity and it doesn't affect, I mean, it doesn't get interrupted by sometimes other people that might give you some other ideas. It's like, this is my art, this is my creativity, this is what comes from me. So I'm introducing it to the world. And sometimes people don't want to keep it that way. And there's some people that are open up and say, you know what? Yeah, okay, this might be a great idea. You can be open up to it if it makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I have only two more questions left,
Mhm.
and one is more or less based again on your experience. Now, we do know that running your own label takes a lot of effort, and you have to be skillful in even more areas
Mm.
than as a producer. What kind of insights or advices would you give to somebody who might be interested to start a record label during these times?
Um, well, number one, advertisement is very important. You have to advertise. Running a label is like whatever you're doing in your life, it becomes a part of your life. It has to be an everyday activity. Like when you wake up in the morning, you shower, you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. And running a label is like that. You have to consistently keep promoting it, keep branding it. Um, you have to constantly attend either locations where they have like a winter music conference or stuff like that, that people show up and do events where they have a banner advertising their label, consistently giving your music with your label name on it and your information to other DJs. So it's a question of getting it to the right people, and also being part of the push as far as advertisement and as far as connecting with other people that are doing the same thing. So it kind of pushes each other. Sometimes everyone has to help each other out somehow. So when you go to these events, you kind of have to get shirts with your label on it, either the banner if you're doing events, or even if you're doing podcasts or DJ mixes on these shows, you have to have some kind of banner so people can relate to what you're doing. Sometimes these logos, they play a big influence in you. So when they see the logo, they know it's you. When they see the brand, they know it's you. It's just a lot of work to do it, and you have to always keep doing it.
It is a lot of work, and it's really like the work never stops. And I think you were describing very nicely and creatively also the ways and something that stood out there, the importance of networking and community when you
You
support
have to
your
network.
fellow
Yeah.
people. Yeah, it really carries you a long way. I would also agree with that. So, Franke, I'm sure that our audience is interested to know what is coming next from you and your music productions.
Okay, there's a few pieces coming out. I have something Soul on the Horn coming out this Monday. It's called Made Up My Mind with Yana Peralt and Daniel Winshaw. It's something that me and Merlin Bob put together. So look out for that release on Monday. And then also I have this record coming out the end of the month, first week of September. It's called FOMO. It's something that Merlin, Bob, and myself have done. So it'll be in the works also. And look out for the album.
Oh, wonderful. People stay tuned for this one because it's gonna be hotter
Yes, yes,
than July and August and all.
yes, 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 yes.
So
I'll keep making music. You guys keep enjoying it.
now, Franke, our time is getting close to the
Hmm.
end. I am sure some people, some people here watching this are very familiar with you and they don't need to maybe know about these things. But we also have newcomers and people curious and about learning our featured guests. So if somebody wants to find you in social media, where can they find you?
They can find me under my name, Franke Estevez. You can either Google it or you can go on Facebook, Instagram. You can go on TikTok. You can go on what's the other one? On LinkedIn. So I on Twitter, I'm everywhere. You'll just pop up my name and you'll find everywhere. I'm an open book when it comes to the music.
Beautiful. Once again, from hot Helsinki to hot New York.
Yeah. Which one's
sending,
harder?
yeah, sending good vibes and
Mm.
energies. And I wholeheartedly thank you for having this moment with me and us viewers of this house music podcast.
Mhm.
Sending you a lot of love.
Thank you.
Congratulations again for great success, continued growth, and we are just happy that you are with us sharing this beautiful house music with us globally. So thank
Thank you
you
for
so
having me. I'm glad for the interview. I'm glad it worked out, and I hope I answered some of your questions.
yes, truly. All right. Well, wish you a great day, and I'm saying like we say in Finland, hey hey.
Hey, hey.